Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I want to talk about the most important lesson that I believe we are here to learn as a soul. And we are constantly missing it, including myself. It is a very tough lesson to learn. And I believe it takes a certain level of awareness and consciousness and constantly realizing the kind of person you are being and the kind of energy that you are projecting out in the world and so on and so forth. So after watching a lot of NDEs, as you guys know, I have learned a lot of different lessons, and it has enabled me to be a more calmer, a more authentic, a more fearless person. And I believe that all of us want to be authentic and fearless. That is something that we all want to be. I do find myself being able to reframe this so-called life that we're living. So reframe, when I have a problem that arises, I'm able to catch myself and not see it as the end of my world. If you don't know what it is, I also recommend to pause this video and go, or maybe even after the video, do some research of your own and just listen to a couple of NDEs. And again, I know not a lot of us are willing to listen to it, especially my father. He's a very stubborn little man. And there's a lot of people out there that are scared to talk about or to think about what happens after we die, and does God exist, and why is all this crap happening in the world, and we don't want to face it, and we don't want to think about it. And that is, again, exactly where you're meant to be, even though it can frustrate me sometimes as an observer. And I'm sure, anyways, that's a whole other topic. So as I was listening to this specific NDE, the woman was mentioning, again, I'm not going to talk about the story, but I just want to talk about the lesson and what I took from it and what can truly help you as well. So as she was going through her near-death experience, and she basically was coming in and out of being in her body and then out in the dark void, because a lot of people have different experiences. Some of them they're in the field with mountains and flowers, and some of them are in a darker, and it sounds kind of scary when I say it, but it's really not, because they're feeling all sorts of different emotions like love and peace and welcoming and warmth and all those kind of things. So it's not like a scary, dark feeling. Anywho's, so one of the lessons, this is why I said I'm not going to go into the story, because it's a very interesting, the way that it all unfolded. I'm just going to get straight to the point. As she was speaking to God, and before she met God, she met an angelic looking being. In the end, she realized that was her grandmother. And after that, she met God. Okay. And the way that he introduced himself was, I am. And she was like, who says that? Who just says I am? And obviously there's nobody else other than the one and only. And so she also mentioned a quick random fact that when she met God, it wasn't, because I always say he, and I just say he because it's hard for me to say he, she, because I know that God is both masculine and feminine. It's both of those energies. And when she was in the presence of God, she mentioned how his voice was very masculine and strong, but the way that he was connecting with her and like, making her feel was very feminine. This is the only NDE where I literally sat down and I took a note of what she said from, the point of the time when I was like, okay, this is gold right here. And I wanted you guys to also hear it. And I want children to hear it. I want everybody to hear it. Okay. Because it is so freaking good and important, and the lesson we are missing. And that is why I believe we keep suffering. I mean, suffering is inevitable. It's going to happen. But a lot of us choose to remain in suffering for the rest of our lives. And I know people like that in my life, in my family, that are stuck in suffering. They just do not want to change. They do not want to see the light. They want to remain in the dark. They want to create hell on earth. They believe in God, some form of God, but they don't truly act like it. Anyways, that's a whole other topic. So I'm sure someone out there is getting very frustrated because I said I was going to go straight into the topic. And as you guys know, it's going to take a little while. Back to the lady. So as she was going through a life review is when you have a flashback, or you kind of rewatch and relive not only your experiences and the good things and the bad things, but also other people's emotions and how they felt when you said maybe something mean or out of, you had a bad intention towards somebody. And also the little things that you did. Maybe you donated $2 to whatever donation, or you helped the old lady stand up and you didn't even think twice. You weren't like, oh, I'm going to do something nice so I can see it in my life review. You were thinking that. You just did it because it was something that was natural to you. And that, the ripple effect of what you did to one person, you're going to see that in an enormous way. And you're like, wow, that little gesture of kindness changed not only one person's life, but that person did it to 10 other people. And those 10 other people did it to another 100 people. So it's the beauty of why we are truly here. So she was going through the life review, and she mentioned there was a lot of, the good things that she saw and the bad things. But the one thing that stuck with her was there was a time in her life where she thought or had a lot of negative thoughts about people. And a lot of us think, including myself, because I'm human just like all of you guys, I've had negative thoughts as well. You think that when you have a negative thought, it's not going to affect anything. You think you're just going to have a thought and, that person's not going to actually, because you're not saying it to them, you're not doing anything bad to them, that they're not going to really feel it. And what God told her here was, that's not true. It is going to affect the other person. So I'm going to kind of go into how she explains it, because I think it is phenomenal. We need to write a book on this. It's like we need this to be on the headlines because we are struggling out here, okay? So he basically mentioned that controlling your thoughts about the other person, making sure that you're not going into this vortex of negativity about another person, is critical. And I'm going to now explain how he kind of, he explains this to her. So he basically says a thought has a certain measure of energy to it, which we already know this, but we don't actually contextualize it and think about it. And a word has even more, and actions has more than that, right? So everything you do has an energy behind it. But it all starts with a thought. Everything starts with a thought. What you think about is what you're going to be about, and that is what you're going to end up doing. It's going to transmute into your actions. It starts right here, which is why it is important to control your thoughts. Now, when we hear the word control, that just doesn't sound too great, to be honest. But I'm going to kind of give you guys a tool that I use personally, and I'm going to share this with you guys. And I'll be honest, this is tough. It's not easy because sometimes your thoughts are so quick. You're like boom, bam, boom. But I do believe that reframing is huge here, is key. Reprogramming your subconscious mind, because maybe you have a habit of talking or thinking. Forget about talking. We're just talking about thinking right now. Thinking negatively about other people, judging other people's past and their actions, and look at what she's wearing and why is she doing that and why is he doing that. And, we're constantly trying to, make ourselves feel better, to be quite honest. Now, this is what I want you to listen to. When you have a negative thought about that person. It could be your ex, it could be your mother, it could be whoever, your friend. That energy goes out there and attaches itself to that person like a little cord. It's attached. And this one is tough, and I'm sure someone's not gonna like it, but you contribute to the jerk that person is. Oh my gosh, ow, I just hurt myself. I mean, this, it's hard the way that it's put, because it's kind of like, wait, you're blaming me for how they're acting. That, it doesn't really add up. But I understand what it means, because there's a lot of people, especially there was a person in my life that at the very beginning, I was super attached to this label of they're a narcissist. And I think you should learn about narcissists and you should learn about their patterns. But if you're constantly just stuck on seeing them as a narcissist, and you can't see them, you can't see the other parts of themselves, like they're a human being, God is within them, like other sides to them, and truly see the humanity within them. Okay, doesn't mean that you allow disrespect and you allow them in your life. I'm not talking about that, but I'm just saying you look at them in a different light. That's what personally released that. I was able to cut that cord and not remain stuck on their actions and what they're doing with this person and that person. I was able to be free finally, because I stopped looking at them in a negative way, and I prayed for them. And he goes on to say, now you've attached more of that energy to them. This is why, it's going to be so good. This is why forgiving is so important. When you forgive people usually say, it's not for them, it's for you. And I've definitely been this person before. So this is such an important point, because a lot of us, we do forgive. Wow, just spit everywhere. Because we're thinking it's for ourselves and we're free now. But real forgiveness is truly just accepting that person and being like, it's kind of like the sun sets in the east. And this person is this person. You cannot change people. He is or she is who they are. And we have to keep it moving. Forgiveness is for them, because if they don't receive some measure of forgiveness, that energy is still attached to them. And it can't come away. It needs to go somewhere, because energy isn't created or destroyed. It just changes form. So if I think something negative about you, that thought is going to attach itself to your spirit. And it makes you more of the person that I'm thinking you are. You're the narcissist. So you're going to keep acting like that crazy narcissist trying to harm me. And let's say now that I forgive you, that energy is able to be redirected, so that the negative energy that I put on you, which makes you more of the negative person that you are, comes off, since I've forgiven you. And it's really important for that other person's journey for you to forgive them. And it's important for yourself, because not only does that negative energy attach to them, but it attaches to you. So again, it's like an anchor. It's like a hook. And this one is, again, just phenomenal. I want you to listen to this. Energy attracts energy. So you basically are attracting what you're putting out there. And so if you're harboring all of these negative feelings, resentment, hate, anger towards this person, or towards people, towards the government, whatever the hell it is, even when it is well deserved, you're basically just drawing more of it to you, because that energy isn't attached to you, but it's going to be once the thoughts start. The reason why I feel like this is such an important lesson to learn, because there's a lot of young kids out there, young men, women, older men, women, whatever, all of us. We, some of us have been conditioned to believe that by thinking badly about somebody, or talking badly about somebody, or taking some actions that you're thinking, it's not that big of a deal. and there's going to be no repercussions for it. And that is so not true. There are going to be consequences for your actions. There is a cause and there is an effect. And sometimes that cause and effect doesn't show up in one lifetime. This is another thing that I learned. It could show up, it will show up in the next lifetime. So on and so forth. So a lot of us think, oh, why do all these bad things happen to good people, and why do good things happen to bad people? Why is my ex, he's a narcissist and he has a nice, amazing woman by his side and he's making all this money and I'm over here struggling? Yeah, you have not seen the entirety of this story. You just know like 10, not even 10. You just know 5% of the puzzle. And that is why a lot of us tend to compare and we get stuck in this loop, and then we get hatred and resentment and so on and so forth. So I really want us to do a deep dive within. Does this really resonate with you, this message? Do you really feel like it has... Do you feel like there's any truth to it? Ask yourself that. Your soul, your higher self, knows the answer to it. And a lot of us have these blocks. We have put guards. Maybe when you were younger, you try to express yourself and you were super excited to share this story or do the dance or whatever it was. And your mother, wow, that sounded really weird. Your mother or your teacher shut you down and said, stop that. I don't want to see that. And maybe that made you feel like you're not enough. You're not worthy to speak up. You're not worthy to feel. And I just want you to know that none of those things are true. Whatever you're seeking is seeking you. So the more that you allow yourself to open up, even if it's not right and not perfect and you're not getting all the answers, that's okay. That's part of your journey and that is all right. So the main lesson that I learned in this NDE is to work on controlling your thoughts. And for me, the way that I control, I'm going to be honest. I never thought about controlling my thoughts. I do more of a reframe. So if my mind is going towards a negative spiral, I say something to kind of, to interrupt that pattern. And so I wanted to give you guys a couple options. So let's say you are maybe thinking really badly about your friend or your ex or whoever it is and you just cannot stop, then saying a mantra to yourself is going to be key. Also priming yourself in the morning, having 15 minutes of quiet time is going to be key. Doing things that your soul desires, like for example, for me is dancing. I love to dance. It's something that I will never stop doing. I did it as a child, and that's what makes my soul come alive. So keep doing things in your life, whether it's drawing, whether it's making cookies, whatever the hell it is, keep doing those things. And do not allow anybody to dim your light, to stop you from doing the very thing that is making your soul light up. That person needs to go. I'm going to give you guys a couple of mantras. So one that I really love to use is, let's say I'm thinking about somebody that I don't want to be thinking about that person. So one thing I say is, you can use his or her, but I'm just going to use his life, his lessons. His life, his lessons. Another one is not my life to fix. Also, I'm out of that business. I love that. I'm out of that business. I'm no longer in charge of that business. Or I choose my peace instead. Again, a mantra is short and you're repeating it over and over and over again. I choose my peace instead. I choose my peace instead. Maybe say it a couple times, take a deep breath, and then do something else. Maybe wash the dishes, watch a show. What's going to work for me is not going to work for you. So try to come up with, use ChatGPT, do some research, find out a mantra which is going to snap you real quick out of going into this negative vortex. Another one is release and return. I like that one too. Another one is interesting, but not true. And this could be about yourself too. If you're finding yourself, you're judging yourself, because many of us judge ourselves more than we judge other people, to be honest. So you could say that. Another one is just a thought, let it drift, because that's one of the best ones, because we have about 80,000 negative thoughts in a day. So knowing that not every thought is factual, a lot of them it's coming from maybe the shows that you're watching or the habits that you have already. So if you want to be a different version of yourself, a lot of things need to change, to be honest. And last one is protecting my peace, because that should be your goal. That should be your aim in this life, to protect your peace. Thank you guys so much for watching and spending your precious time with me. I want to know from you guys, do you guys love these videos where I'm talking about NDEs and the lessons that I'm learning? I'm going to definitely enjoy talking about it. So I'm enjoying this, but I want to know from you guys, is this something that you guys are learning from? Is there something else you would like me to talk about? Let me know down below. And lastly, if you got anything from this video, anything that was helpful and it's been able to change your perspective in some way, in a good way, then I would appreciate it if you can subscribe to my channel. This is, you know, what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to talk, I want to connect, I want to grow, I want to build a community, I want to do all of these amazing things, and it cannot be possible without your help. So I would appreciate that a lot. Thank you guys so much once again. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one.